Hi, welcome to another edition of Movie Hype. I'm your host, Tony Lamar, and my brother from another mother, all the way from Austin. Nope, screw it, not Austin. That was good, man. I was like a DJ for a minute. We got Ross Miller out here, and
I'm in LA exactly. It starts with the same letter as Austin, so I totally understand.
LA does not start. L starts with LA.
And L starts with Austin, right? Oh,
no.
I'm all messed up. Anyway, so...
Well, welcome to our special edition of Movie Hype. We're going to talk about a movie that just came out, some independent film. I don't know. We're talking about Star Wars, The Force Awakens. Now, it's going to be... I'm going to be honest as possible. I'm going to try to explain my situation with this movie, because I don't know. Let's start with this here. Your first overall, what were your thoughts of
this? Is the greatest movie that I ever hated in my whole life. Yeah.
Really? That's interesting that you said that, because I did have some issues with this particular movie. Okay. Now saying that, this is my problem. It was so funny. So the movie starts, right? And I'm already like dissecting it, and I'm not a fan. I'm being a filmmaker. I'm being, like, why would they do this? The dialogue, and I had a hard time getting into this being a fan until one part happened. Is when I saw the Millennium Falcon come into frame. I was now back being the kid who loved Star Wars. I had a grin on my face, and I started loving it. Okay, now. That's just my thought process. Now, here's my problem. It was so much a parallel to the very first Star Wars.
It was a parallel while missing everything that made the first movie great.
And it's okay. Is it better than Phantom Menace and those movies? I would say yes, absolutely. 100%. Okay, I would also agree with that. Some of the characters I was like looking forward to just failed.
And you thought Jar Jar was bad.
And here's the thing. The whole thing with Captain Phasma, okay, no one said this is going to be a badass character. We just like how badass it looked, and we just assume this character is going to be a badass. But it was just like any other Stormtrooper, just silver and just screwed up. It wasn't that impressive as a character. So I'll tell you what, before I go into my more deep opinions on it, I'll get your input. Ross, go ahead, please continue.
My problem with this is they did so much right. They did so much of the nuance. They had such strong actors for the roles. Everybody was so believable, and the story just lacked. They never took the time to make me care about these characters. One of the things about the original trilogy, and this is specifically Star Wars, and I mean A New Hope, the thing that they missed with this is that when A New Hope came out, George Lucas had no clue if he was ever going to get a sequel. So he had to tell as much story as he could in that time frame, so that in case there wasn't a sequel, it would be a standalone movie that was complete. And J.J. Abrams missed that completely. He didn't spend any time making us care about these characters. He didn't spend any time building up who they were or why they got to where they... You know what I mean? They should have spent just a little bit of time. I would have loved to have seen a thing at the very beginning showing Finn coming up through the ranks as a child up, you know what I mean? Like do the trial by fire and what did it mean to be a child growing up in the Empire? They didn't have to beat you over the head with it, but just show us a little bit. Show us this guy from here to here, and now he's on the front lines. You know what I mean?
But is the story about Finn, though? I hear what you're saying.
Right, but they're relying so much on the sequels to explain themselves that they didn't do a good enough job in this movie to make me care about... Why am I going to come back and watch this character? What is it about him?
I hear what you're saying. They gave you questions to ask after the movie. The thing is, you get the whole lost feeling again.
And they gave us questions to ask at the end of Star Wars, but they answered enough of it to where we really wanted those answers. Like, who didn't look...
Again, like you said, it's a standalone movie. Like you said, if they knew this is the only Star Wars movie they're going to make, we're going to make one, we'll see how people react. I'm sure it would have been a much tighter story, as you said, standalone. And I agree. They're counting on the next two movies to explain, we're setting up this whole thing, and all these questions are now being raised. Why is Finn this way? How come he felt that way? Does he have the Force? Does he not? Who's Rey? Of course.
How do these guys know how to use lightsabers so quickly? The one thing about lightsabers from the history of them is that in an unskilled hand, they're as dangerous to the user as they are to the adversary.
Yeah, you got a point there because I'm watching the movie, they weren't trained to use the lightsaber. I'm talking about Finn or Rey, but I mean they did a pretty good job. Someone who's been trained, like this whole Kylo Ren, had a little hard time finding two people who didn't know how to use a damn lightsaber, barely know how to turn it on, let alone work it. So that right there, I mean, 'cause I start thinking from it, maybe Rain has been secretly being trained by a Force ghost of Luke Skywalker. I thought they were heading that way because that would make sense to me. Like he's been training her because he's been secretly training her. I don't know. I just expect something a little bit different. I thought that would have been pretty cool if they ended that way. Now let's talk about the big elephant in the room, how they handle Han Solo. Now here's my opinion. The very beginning, I thought they did a great job handling the character.
Oh, it was in his voice at the very beginning, and then his voice faded throughout the rest of the movie.
It seemed you're right. It seemed it lacked at certain scenes. I saw Han Solo. Okay, I didn't see Harrison Ford. There are some scenes it looked like this is Harrison Ford on the set. Maybe it was after the accident. Right. I don't know. We got hurt on the set, but to me, it felt like there were scenes that just did not seem like he was really into it. Now, here's the thing, and this is just an afterthought of the movie. I can see why Harrison Ford is happy with this particular movie. He's done with Star Wars. That's when he was taken out. Spoiler.
The worst death scene. I mean, talk about giving somebody a crappier death scene than Boba Fett. You know what I mean? It was so predictable. It was so projected. As soon as he held the thing out, I'm like, oh, I know exactly what he's going to do.
It should have been more of a shock, like maybe he's going to have a second thought, because they're trying to hint to that. I didn't believe for one freaking minute that,
It should have been where the his son was going, and spoiler again, that Ben was going, leading a charge against the resistance. And in that charge, Han Solo was killed during the battle. Like, make it some epic thing where he got killed during that battle. And and then, like, you don't... Like, they never should have even let on that it was Han Solo and Carrie Fisher's son. They should have just left it as this thing. And then it could have come out in the next few films like, holy crap, he killed his dad. You know what I mean? Like, that would have been a huge impact.
Wouldn't that be better if they'd done that? I mean, leave it hanging, like, maybe... I think you're absolutely right. What a reveal that would have been in part two.
It seemed to me that Abrams was going down a checklist. Family betrayal, check. Cantina meeting, check. Han Solo saying, I have a bad feeling about this, check. You know what I mean? The father and son rivalry, check. Abrams completely blew his wad in the first film. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Well, he's not doing it anymore, so might as well. Let me do this now before... But because I already guarantee. See, it looks successful because it's making lots of money. So no matter what, here's what's going to happen. We may have the same effect as the Phantom Menace. Right now, people are just excited, that they got a new Star Wars movie. And over the next couple of weeks, it's going to start to settle down, and they're going to start nitpicking it like they did Phantom Menace.
But think about all the greatness that's in there. See, this is my problem. Like, at least with Phantom Menace, once you got over it all, there's such little greatness in it. You know what I mean? But this had so much awesomeness. It had one of the best Millennium Falcon scenes when they're flying it, when before Han Solo's even involved, and they're flying it away, and the gun is broken, and they have to figure out how to angle it to shoot at the that stuff was
absolutely.
So awesome, and it made me feel like I was right inside the Millennium Falcon with him, and
And you had hope. It was the beginning of the movie. So
I was at the edge of my seat.
He's doing good.
It's what I wanted.
Hold the Millennium Falcon. Touch myself.
Totally. And it was a very empty theater I was in, so I could do that, which was great. Next time I'll remember. It was in the middle, but still. But the thing was so funny, like the stormtrooper defector Finn, right? First of all, they never should have shown him in his stormtrooper uniform in the trailer, because the second that the other stormtrooper wiped the blood across his mask, I was like, oh, that's Finn. That's the guy that's going to leave soon. You know what I mean? So even that tiny little thing that seemed like nothing was a huge spoiler to me.
Was it just me? Did it seem like already he seemed awkward with the rest of the
Completely.
troopers when they're attacking? Like, you point him out. That's
And they didn't
right
even
there.
show why. Yeah, he was brought in to do this thing that he didn't feel comfortable with, but it's like, really? You went to one thing and you freaked out and decided not to follow orders? You know what I mean? It just didn't seem believable. There was nothing there for me to care about. You know, I would have liked to have seen an entire movie where Finn was sort of the enemy, and maybe at the very end of it he defects and comes over and hooks up with Rey and all that. You know?
Just like a brother, though, he's already making his Mac move from Jump Street. Go on, Finn. I appreciate that, brother. I like that, man. Yes, I'm with the Resistance.
Of course.
Of course.
With the Resistance, yeah. Why wouldn't I be?
Okay, I'm sorry. Real quick, back to the Han Solo. There's a missed opportunity. There's a line where Leia says something to him. I miss you, whatever. And he could have said, I know, but they didn't drop it. It was so funny. When you watch again, you'll see the part where he could have done that.
I know exactly where you mean, yeah.
He could have dropped it in there, and yeah, it would have been here we go, doing stuff from the other movie, but why not? Hey, they said...
Yet I loved her feeling the Force when he died, that she felt that disturbance, and, she bows her head because she just felt it. You know what I mean? In her heart, she just knew what had happened, and I love that. That's what I expect out of Star Wars. Again, it's the how much they did right really shows off how bad it was, and oh my God, why did they take off Ben Solo's mask? Every time they showed his face, I kept hearing, "I'm Vinnie Barbarino." He looked like the 1970s John Travolta. I'm gonna put up a picture so you guys can see, and you tell me that I'm not wrong.
I'm gonna put a picture side by side right here.
See that? And you tell me that I'm not wrong. I'm Vinnie Barbarino.
Okay. Well, okay. Let's talk about the Kylo Ren character real quick. Just him alone. Not the backstory, but just did you feel? I mean, I didn't see a comparison to Darth Vader at all, other than he's his grandson. But I really like the fact that he was really using the Force in a different way. Man, when he had the laser just hovering.
Oh, I love that.
I'm like, okay. This is what I'm talking about. Like, I was see. This is like this at the beginning. Yes, doing something different. Let's use the Force in a different way. Thank you for freaking doing that. So I had high hopes.
But then we're gonna make a planet-sized Death Star that now it just started killing a planet. It kills an entire star system by wiping out the sun. It's like, come on, that was retarded. And
I tell you what though, man, I didn't want to laugh in the theater, but I said, "This is a Death Star, and here's Star Killer." Okay, but the thing is, I kind of got a kick out of it. I got a kick out of the weapon and how it shot and blew up the planet. That was pretty cool.
I even got a kick out of when it blew up and it turned itself into a sun. But come on, who doesn't want to know what happened to that star system now that the sun has moved all that great distance? You know what I mean?
I'm sure the fanboys will have a fun day with that. But yeah, you can start nitpicking all that kind of stuff, and keep in mind it's all fake anyway. All right, they got freaking lightsabers, whatever. With that in mind, I got a kick out of it. The Star Killer ship was just not, I wouldn't call it laughable, but like you're following the same patterns of A New Hope. Okay, instead of getting Death Star plans, we have a map to find Luke Skywalker. You know what? Now we're all get together. Now we're gonna blow up this. We need a plan to take out this big ship. But in this time, we're gonna need to take out the shield, and we're gonna ask Captain Phasma to do it. And she pretty much did it. Which, like, okay, sure. Like they were like, no, I didn't get it.
Wait a minute, even worse. Again, like right now, at this point in time, 4 out of 7 films have some kind of Death Star in it. You know what I mean? Come on, give us something new. Give us something like, oh my God, I never saw that coming. And that never happened in this film, ever once.
Well, I'll tell you what, would have been cool that maybe be going really nuts though. But what if Kylo Ren was able to crush a planet with the Force? That he was able to do something that maybe the Darth Plagueis couldn't do.
It would have been insane. Would have been off the charts.
It would have been, and not only that, but just I remember you saw that character of the pulling in the Star Destroyer
Force
in
Unleashed.
Force Unleashed. We all
Yep.
wigged out because like, wow, that is crazy. Could
That
you
trailer
imagine?
got me to buy that game. That trailer alone, yeah.
No, yeah. And here's an opportunity to use the Force differently. I would say, you know what? Let's not do anything from the other freaking movies. What else can we use with the Force? The dark side and light side. Let's start putting some ideas out here. That would have been me day one. We have to do things something different. We have to.
At the very least, with the Star Killer weapon, they should have disabled it and left it crippled for the next film. So it was still something they had to deal with. You know what I mean? And again, it would have changed it up a little.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But there's opportunity. There's still hope, no pun intended, for the next movie. I will say, just from watching it once, which I'll see it again, maybe one more time before I'm done to come on video. I like it. I do know this. I do like it in Star Wars 1 and 2. As of right now, we'll see.
As a roller coaster, it was great. It was exactly what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But as the story tells, like again, I go back to those original films. They spent so much time telling the story of who our heroes are. You know what I mean? And this time it was just like they were blurting out crap to excite fanboys. Like when Solo corrects Rey, saying it was 12 parsecs, not 14. You know what I mean? And with Finn accidentally activating the hologram, it was just like this. They were trying to do a stroll down memory lane, and they didn't have
to. You know, just seeing the table is enough. I need to see the damn chessboard.
I would have loved it
okay?
if he was just leaning on the chessboard during that conversation, and they never went to that.
Yeah, they didn't have to. Just like how we chilled on it.
You don't need it. Everybody knows what that is. You know what I mean? And if they don't know what it is, you're not going to excite them by showing this little brief hologram thing, because nobody knows what they don't know what it is still, you know?
Yeah. I thought it was pretty cool how they got Rey into the cockpit. They injured Chewbacca, which I thought was pretty cool. You know, so that way they got Han Solo and the new person being brought in that can show they can fly a ship.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I do like the transition. Okay, I do like how they brought in the original characters, get mixed with the new characters.
I love the shot.
I love
the shot when Han Solo was killed and they had that beam of light going, you know, right through from one to the other. Kind of, I mean, it was almost like they were sort of next generationing it. Like, here's the new crew kind of thing. You know what I mean? They did so much for that, and I really appreciated how they were building it. And it looks, the movie looks so gorgeous. Everything in it was beautiful.
Absolutely. As far as visual, the effects, and just the look of the film, it's superb. Absolutely. Okay. But as we know with any other movie, you still need a story to tell. All the visual effects wouldn't save a movie. Phantom Menace, for example, is a good example. Great special effects. Story was just lackluster, and what the hell.
And at this point, I can there's only
totally,
3 scenes I can go back and watch to give me any interest at all, you know?
But I will have to say that my favorite scene, and after an interview, Mark Hamill said he spent hours rehearsing his scene to get it just right. I mean,
well, now, what are the odds that Rey is Mark Hamill or Luke Skywalker's daughter or something? Because that was screaming it. It was screaming it through the whole film that it was.
Well, come on, they're wearing the same clothes. I mean, the whole life is parallel to each other.
She got his father's lightsaber handed down to him. You know, she's got now her grandfather's lightsaber, and all of it.
Yeah,
and the connection she had immediately to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of that just showed that there's something going on with her. But again, like, I would have rather heard that Luke was training her. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of thing. Here, what was the first disappointing thing? What was the first thing you disliked in the film? I'm just kind of curious.
Well, it's going to be almost at the beginning when he put the damn map inside the BB-8. I was like, this whole thing, the whole scene reeks of the very beginning of the first movie. I mean, I hope somebody takes a side-by-side of Star Wars New Hope and this beginning and show how close it's just like bing, bing. You can do a checklist.
Like I was saying,
You know,
and to me, the thing that was so painful was the Nathan Drake character of Poe. When he starts off with being that smarmy smartass, do you talk or I talk like that? It's like, come on, guy, that's just painful. That's not even like I get the snarkiness of it is part of the universe, but it was done so poorly it just took you out of the moment. And then when he survives that crash, like again, that would have been a great opportunity to be a catalyst for Finn to care about the resistance. Like, oh my God, I'm responsible for this guy dying. I need to go finish his mission. You know what I mean? It would have been so much more to inform the story for him to have, some impact from that. But instead, no, it's okay. He comes back in the third scene. What? I woke up and you weren't there. Oh, come on, really?
Yeah, it's but like I said, there's lots of great moments. One of my favorite scenes so far is when Kylo Ren was going to ape shit in his room, and those two stormtroopers like, nah, screw this.
Yeah, I ain't going anywhere near that guy.
But it's kind of funny though, that guy who gave Kylo Ren the bad news, is like we talked about and jokingly that it's very stressful being part of the New Order or the Empire.
Yeah.
So hey, you go tell Kylo Ren the bad news. I don't want to do it.
I'm not doing it.
Everybody gather around. We're going to take some straws, and someone got to tell him.
I know. Let's get Mikey.
Mikey's new. He don't know anything about Kylo Ren. Hey, go give Kylo Ren this information. It's like,
it made me laugh. It's fine. It'll be fine.
It made me laugh because the look on his face, like, dude, I'm gonna die. It's like. He's like, what? Turn around, like, oh, yeah.
And it was funny.
At
first, I kind of didn't like that he was acting so petulant, just freaking out and throwing that tantrum. But at the end, I kind of understood that what they were trying to show you was he was completely undisciplined. You know what I mean? And I appreciated that. I was like, wow, actually, I like that. I like what they were doing with that. At first, I was like, ooh, what the hell? This just seemed weird. But then he kind of freaked out again a little bit later. He had another one of those moments. And it's like, oh, what they're trying to show is he's just unhinged. You know what I mean? Unlike Darth Vader, who was very disciplined, very calculating in everything he did. Here was a guy who just, he didn't have the ability to think things through that far, and he would fly off the handle. I like that. It's a little bit unique.
Yeah. Well, here's something we haven't talked about at all this whole podcast is Snoke. Snoke. The wonderful, wonderful world of Snoke. The hologram giant himself. It was like, the thing was, I was like, why is this thing so freaking huge? And it got me. I didn't think it was a hologram. It was like, why is he so freaking huge? Right? This is unreal. But then, of course, we realized it's a hologram, a very high definition hologram from previous holograms.
Technology is really boosted up in this world.
It's a 4K hologram now.
Before you know it, they'll have flying cars, I'm sure.
But it goes to show you, 30 years, technology just changed. So I guess we can do high definition holograms.
Right.
Now, with this in mind, we don't know how big he really is. He could be freaking midget for all we know.
Yeah, he could be the size of that little eye chick that was down on the planet.
Yeah, and then again, it may not be him in the first place. They can just say this is just a hologram. The real Snoke is still. It could be anybody. It could be any of these characters now. It could be cloak and dagger kind of thing. So
I believe that it is going to be the character that we saw is going to be him, because we saw it looked like the guy had a bad injury from some kind of, he had a real gnarly battle scar on his head. You know what I mean? There's something going on there. There's some backstory there that I'm interested in knowing about. So I like that they introduced a new, hidden menace kind of character in a way, that there is some other thing behind the scenes, and that they didn't give us very much information. Like, remember in The New Hope, we didn't know anything about the Emperor, but we did.
No, not at all.
But we understood there was an empire, so it makes sense that there is somebody imperially running this show. You know what I mean? So I like that they brought in a new guy and they gave us a little taste of him. I have no problem with that. And like I said, I love the pacing of the film. It kept moving along. Like, I never once felt like it was slow or any of that.
No, I agree. No, it was. I mean, it moves smoothly. Absolutely, I agree with you.
As an action film, it really delivered.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely, but just some of the story choices didn't work well for me. For a Lord Kasdan script, it's still good, great writing. It's just that it felt a little short. And even the General Hux, I know the villains are, and they really want to make sure these villains stand out. And I just don't really, even freaking Kylo Ren, as badass as his character was, I still didn't get to wow, I can't learn more about him. Yeah, he killed Han Solo, and he has a little bit of a temper, but we don't know what's driving him to do this. We're going to learn more about Supreme Leader Snoke, and this whole General Hux guy. you know, I I don't know. I don't know the take of General Hux at all.
Right.
That's the redheaded dude.
And I think that again goes back to the how much they were trying to do in the New Hope movie. They only had this one leader that we really were going to see. We understood there was a hierarchy because obviously Grand Moff Tarkin was above Vader and that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we understood that there was more of a chain of command. So you didn't need to show all of the villains. But what they did is they focused on one so well that by the end of the thing, you're like, that guy is scary, man. He came in with this flying, interrogation machine, and he had all kinds of crazy stuff at his disposal, and he showed he was ruthless. And this one they really never did. Even in killing his father, it was almost like, I could go and get a bite to eat, or I could push this lightsaber through you real quick. You know what I mean? It's like it wasn't like an active. It wasn't like he came, you son of a bitch, I'm gonna get you, boom, and got him, which is what I expected the Sith. The Sith are supposed to be about revenge and and all this, and it just didn't seem. It was so lackluster. I feel that they really didn't do Han Solo the service that he deserved.
There are scenes that we were seeing Han Solo, and there were scenes that just didn't work. I mean, just leave it as it is. I'm pretty sure you and I are going to watch this movie a bunch of times, and I'm sure it'll be great. Maybe we'll do a recap when it's comes out on DVD, and we can really, on Blu-ray, we can really, dig deeper into some of the issues with this movie. Will it do well? We already know it's doing well. It's going to make over 260 million this weekend. It's going to be at around 260 at the rate they're going.
Absolutely,
worldwide.
We are nitpicking when it really comes to it, and people are going to love this film, and that's just the fact. Mm-hmm. This is not.
There's no perfect films, okay,
right.
And we will find flaws, but we made it very clear that yes, it's better than the prequel so far, but we don't know how this is going to end. We still got 2 more movies in this trilogy.
Absolutely, and that's something I'm looking forward to. Is how do they tell the rest of this story? Because there's a lot of stories still to tell. Mm-hmm. But again, what I did get out of this film is it really solidifies my desire to see the outside of the story films, the Han Solo and the Boba Fett and any other stories, the Rogue Squadron stories. Like, that's the stuff I'm really looking to see.
Well, here's what we should take from this 9-part series. It's about the Skywalker legacy. Mm-hmm. And that's and after that we're done with Skywalkers. Okay, now we have a whole other universe we can discover. We got New Order, our Old Republic, which I really hope they announce they're going to do those movies after this trilogy. Because I'll be on board. I'll be in my 50s, but I'll be watching that shit. I don't care.
I will gum my popcorn to see Star Wars till the end of time. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
They could not screw up big enough to lose me. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, overall, I would say that it was a great experience. I was happy. I mean, I'll tell the audience I had a hard time getting back to be just a fan. Being in the business as long as I have now, I try to point things out and analyze this and the writing and why would they do this, why would they say that. But the only part I could say that I really got back into the Star Wars world was when I saw the Millennium Falcon. Mm-hmm. And I love the line, so that's a piece of junk, don't worry about that. And that ship got blown up, and you pan over.
Right, we'll take the garbage, she says.
and then it showed the Millennium Falcon. Man, I put a smile on my face. I thought that was awesome.
And I love that it wasn't in action, that it was literally practically decommissioned at that point. You know what I mean? And I love the TIE Fighter when they're trying to steal the TIE Fighter and it was tethered to the base. It's like, come on, that's so cool. So much stuff that was done right, so much new things that they introduced to us that that just it knocked it out of the park. But at the same time, at the end of the film, I'm thinking I felt like it was like we talk about J.J. Abrams. I felt it was lost in space. Basically, because by the time I left, I always say that the finale of Lost, at the end of it, I remember just sitting there thinking, I don't know how to process this. And I
don't know how to feel about this. Yeah, I'm not sure. What am I supposed to feel?
I remember looking around the room and thinking, in the theater anyway, at the end of Star Wars, and thinking, did everyone just have the same experience I did?
But I will say this though. But I love the fact that they're showing things that we all wanted to see, like how does a TIE Fighter park, or how does it sit in bay? Mm-hmm. We never seen it on the big screen, so it was nice to see the way. I mean, it was just those are little nuances I did like about the film. There's a lot of things I do like about the movie, and I do have high hopes, no pun intended again, of the next two movies. Now, I'm just happy that from now on to the day I drop, there'll be a Star Wars movie. I know I'll watch every single one. I know we're going to love some real ones, and we're going to talk smack about others. But you know what? That's what fans do. But tell you what, at the end of the day, they still get my money. I'm going to see every single movie. And that's how it's going to be, people. And just deal with it, because that's what's going to happen every time a Star Wars movie come out in the near future.
And honestly, if you haven't seen the film yet and you've completely let us spoil it for you, I still recommend going to see it, because the spectacle is off the chart. One of the things you talked about, the TIE fighters in the hangar bay, we also got to see, somebody that's not a Imperial piloting this thing, and he was, right off the gate, holy crap, this thing's fast, and just how difficult it was for him to incorporate into it. Yeah. But at the same time, that really shows you how dangerous these things are in battle. You know what I mean? And even when the two were chasing the Millennium Falcon, like, you really felt like those two could cause some harm. Those two TIE fighters, as small as they are, no shields, all that stuff, they really gave you that sense of, oh my God, these guys actually could cause some kind of harm. Right. And I like that. I like that they're pushing the technology over the top. They're doing a great job there.
Now, let me ask you, were there any visual or scenes like, that's badass? Was there anything that really captured your imagination, like, that is something I want to see? I'll give you an example. Mm-hmm. When that Millennium Falcon came through those trees, through the forest, I thought that was just looked cool. And seeing the TIE fighters with the sun in the background, I love those visual effects. That's all J.J. Abrams stuff that we want to see. It was freaking awesome. I loved some of those shots in the movie.
Absolutely. So, like I said, it was beautiful, beginning to end. There was nothing ugly on the screen. It was they took so much care of every detail that you saw visually. But at the same time, was there anything that really blew me out of my chair? Like, oh my God, I didn't expect that. No, there was stuff I absolutely loved. Yes, like when they flew the Millennium Falcon through that, the thruster port in the planet Jakar, all that stuff. Like, wow, that was so exciting. I loved how they do that. And again, that was a throwback to the other films that was done right. It was sort of like the flying through the Death Star in a sense, where they had those real tight quarters, and you could almost hear the guy saying, "Go between them, are you crazy?" You know what I mean? You could just... there was so much to that, and I love that. But at the same time, was there anything that really made me go, holy crap, look what they did? Like, no, there was never that moment for me.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I know we're going to talk about this movie the rest of the year, or not this year, but this over the next couple of months, and the influence this movie's going to make on future movies now. Because now Star Wars is going to... you're going to see new movies about space again. You're going to see an onslaught of this from every freaking studio.
And hopefully they'll be doing it right this time, and not just doing a carbon copy.
Yeah. Well, people, don't drink the Kool-Aid. At least check it out before you drink it. Make sure. And Star Wars overall, I think it's a decent movie. Of course, there's some flaws in it, But then again, it's hard to make every Star Wars fan happy, especially when you got.
I was just going to say, what would you expect out of the sequel? Because this time they did everything bigger. They did a bigger Star Destroyer. Now, this time, instead of it being, so large going over the screen, now it was literally blotting out a planet. The Star Killer was this much bigger version of the Death Star. They even put up a comparison on screen. So they're done with showing us the bigger. Now I really am hoping for the better.
Well, that'll be a conversation later, because I still need to adjust this movie and watch it again and find. The only thing I will say was pretty cool was the sun, or the ship blocking out the moon at the very beginning. I thought that was a pretty cool shot.
It was heavy duty, but again, it wasn't new. It was just bigger.
Yeah, bigger. Again, you're right. Bigger is better. Well, I'll tell you what. Send your comments to us and what you think. I would love to hear what you think about this new Star Wars movie. What do you expect from it? What disappointed you? What shocked you? But I'll tell you what, though. This is out of the whole Star Wars movie, but I want this on audio, so I'll never forget this. My kid said the funniest thing ever in the movie theater. It was a trailer for Avengers Civil War, and they were going at it. Iron Man, you seen the trailer, right? You seen the trailer.
They played it.
And out loud, he had a very loud voice, and my kid goes, after I saw them fighting, he goes, "Avengers are not supposed to fight Avengers. What's up?" I thought that was pretty cool. It made my day. Probably the best line in the whole movie, and it wasn't even in Star Wars. But I tell you what, though, as a fan, I'm happy it's better than the prequel, and I can say even now I can still say that. There are definitely issues with the film, but it's hard. I mean, if I had to make a Star Wars movie, I would just be going bonkers. 'Cause I wouldn't know what to do. You know, the only thing I said at the very beginning is let's do stuff different. Let's talk about was not do anything that's been done in other movies.
Completely.
Let's do that in the next one. That's what it should do from this point on.
I would have made Luke the Jedi Master, who was secretly training Rey, which that would have come out at the end that was actually her master. I wouldn't bother with it being her father. I think that's not, because just the Jedi Order, you're not supposed to have those relationships. I understand the Mara Jade Skywalker and all that stuff, but I don't think that it was important to the story, and I think it would have been more interesting if it was Luke that was going around and he had started training Rey and some of the other people, but then had got called away to go for the Solos to do some exclusive training for their son. And then find out that that's really what happened, that blew up in his face, and that's why he wasn't training anybody anymore. Yet, it would have given an explanation to why does Rey have some lightsaber skills. Why there's things that they could have done. I would have actually liked to have even seen in the, again, showing Empire or the New Remnant trained these guys to use lightsabers a little bit, so that when he picked it up, it wasn't so the first time he ever touched it, yet all of a sudden he has skills. They could have done so much more to explain what they gave us later in the film, and it wouldn't have taken very much. You just needed to pepper them throughout the story, and it seemed like a missed opportunity.
Yeah, but Star Wars is not known to do flashbacks,
I'm not saying flashbacks. You tell the story you open it up with him as a kid, did this here, this here, this here, and boom, now we're at the present.
Yeah, I have to disagree. I wouldn't like that. I hear what you're saying. It makes sense what you're saying, but in a Star Wars film, I don't think it would have worked. My opinion.
They did it with Anakin, and they made it the entire story. They made it the whole movie.
Look at the results.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is not doing the whole movie. You do 10 minutes of it. You do whatever it would take just to kind of show you that this dude's been in the academy since almost birth. He's always.
Well, he did say it.
He said it, but it had no impact on me. So now you show it a little bit, and then you could even have one or two things that he's involved in where he has wow, that's kind of messed up what we just did. You know what I mean? That he's involved in, but he's following orders, and then slowly show him, oh crap, I got to pull back for this. I can't follow these orders anymore. And then by that point, when he leaves it would be so believable. I'd have been I know exactly why he's leaving. Mm-hmm. In this film, I had no clue what was his problem. He had one bad experience. You know what I mean? And he's betraying his order simply because
he's a traitor.
Exactly, and it just didn't make any sense to me. I didn't buy it.
Right. Okay, one more thing I want to mention. When Rey is fighting Kylo Ren, and he goes, "You're not using the Force, whatever." She does that moment where she's gathering her strength. I don't understand that. I hope they explain that.
Yeah,
because it didn't make. What the heck, man? It's all of a sudden she does the Matrix, it does all the Force. This is how you fight. Just programmed her in this.
And all of a sudden, she knew how to do the Jedi mind trick, with no, you know what I mean? All that stuff. It just was so unbelievable because they had no training up to that point.
Well, the only thing I thought was weird that Kylo Ren goes, she'll become stronger now. She knows she has a Force, or some line indicating that she's going to become stronger as she knows what she has. I know I hacked the line, but
I would have rather seen it say that, oh, now she's going to be stronger because she has a mentor. When she reached Skywalker, oh my God, now she has a mentor. She can actually develop her skills. We're in trouble. That kind of thing would have been awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we still got two more movies to compare. To me, it's a decent start. Hopefully, the fan will voice their opinions of what worked and what didn't work. And this movie here has both. Mm-hmm. A lot of things did work. I mean, the thing I'm really happy for, and it just made me laugh when they kill Han Solo. I thought that's what Harrison Ford said. I'll do this movie, but you got to kill me.
You got to get rid of me. Yeah,
and you got to get rid of me.
I like that they had the balls to do it. I just wish his death had more meaning. What I really loved of Han Solo was the fact of how much he is no longer a skeptic regarding the Force. He's experienced it enough and seen it enough in his lifetime at this point to where it's real. He understands that everything's real, like he said. It's all true. But that great line when Finn says to him, "Well, it's okay, we'll just use the Force." He says, "The Force doesn't work that way." You know what I mean? That was so Han Solo. I mean, I loved all that stuff, and it just. Yeah. But the rest of it, you're right. I expected a stormtrooper at one time to get onto the Millennium Falcon just so he could say, "Get off my ship," and kick him out of the thing. It just.
But I tell you what, though. Well, okay, we're going back a little bit. I was impressed that the stormtroopers were really hitting their targets. I mean, they really, because they're real people. They're trained. I kind of got a kick out of that.
Yeah.
And one more thing.
And the stormtrooper blood. The first time we've ever seen a stormtrooper bleed. Awesome. That's true. Awesome. I love it. It made you and the fact that everybody around was affected by these things. When they had that battle coming through the city, everybody was running. People were getting killed who weren't even the targets. Because that's the way war is. It's messy. You know what I mean? It's not just the heroes and the villains getting killed.
I'll give you that. The only part, here's where there's one scene in the movie I'm still not sure how I feel about it, is when we first meet Han Solo and Chewbacca and that whole slug monster with teeth, grab technical thing. I don't know about that scene. How'd you feel about that scene?
Well, it was one of those things. I understand that they need it because they need that stuff for new blockbuster films. But at the same time, you're right. They didn't need it at all. It was unnecessary.
But it also shows something about Han Solo's character. They both said, "Man, you use up all your." Again, to set up his death. Everybody knows you, Han Solo. You got no more people to help you out. You pulled all your last cons. I mean, again, it's a swan song for Han Solo. That's pretty much I got from this movie here. And I think that's why Harrison Ford is jumping up with joy, walking around, he's doing his thing, because this is my last Star Wars movie. I'm done. I'm not doing more. I'm done with it after this. I did it. I'm done with it. And that's what made me laugh in the theater when I saw him die.
No, I felt that he got his wish. In a sense.
So he wanted to die in Empire Strikes Back. So just 2 more movies. Oh, well, that's cool. I'm glad. You're right. We're say it one more time. You're right. His death should have been a little more. That should have been a great reveal in part 2 that's their son. Because then we always said, holy shit, like you said, he
killed his dad. Oh my God. Like, it would have just knocked everybody out. And that could have been a huge emotional scene between him and Carrie Fisher, possibly, or him and Ray, maybe. You know what I mean?
They could have fooled us, make us think it's Luke's son.
Totally. Totally. And then the thing is that when at one point in the next film when Rey's there, she can be like, how could you have killed your own father? It'd been like, oh my God, he wasn't Luke's son. He was, you know what I mean? They could have brought it out in a totally different way.
They could have done that. We had another Empire moment. Like, that would have been a great reveal. They should have saved that for part 2. I think we'll leave it at that. They should have saved that for part 2. But then again, man, that's why they make the movies we don't. Hopefully we'll do something different. But I really felt like I both agree that should have been held for part 2.
And I'm excited for part 2. I can't wait for it to come out.
Part 8, actually 8. Well, I'm already in line. I'm in line mentally right now for part 8.
Absolutely.
So I was over the last 17 years or 15 years. I've been in line for this next one. I got up this morning. I was excited to see it, and I got it. Now I'm in line for part 8.
So just know it, Disney. We are your bitch. That's what I'm trying to say.
I'll take it deep, man. I'll take it deep either end. I am your Star Wars bitch. Yep. Absolutely. On that note, I'm Tony Lamar.
I'm Ross Miller. You can find me at Punctual Pothead on Twitter.
Yep, and you can find me at Tony@_Lamar. You can just Google me. I'm out there, people.
You just out there.
Okay, I guess that's it.